For more content like this, please hit like and subscribe. Early fractures. The first splits in American Methodism. Methodism in America began as a revival, a passionate, spirit-filled movement to spread the gospel across the new republic. With powerful preaching, circuit riders, and fervent communities, it grew rapidly after the founding of the Methodist Episcopal Church in 1784. But no revival movement stays untouched by conflict. Even in its earliest decades, Methodism wrestled with a central question: how should authority work in the Church of Jesus Christ? This is the story of the first two major fractures in American Methodism, one during the era of Francis Asbury and another decades later when the Republican Methodists formed the Protestant Methodist Church. Both breaks centered not on doctrine, but on governance, how the people should be led. The first fracture, James O'Kelly and the 1792 split. Just 8 years after the Methodist Episcopal Church was organized, the first major challenge to Episcopal authority arose. The key figure, James O'Kelly. James O'Kelly was a respected Methodist elder in Virginia, passionate and principled. He had helped build the Methodist movement in the South, but he grew increasingly troubled by the authority held by bishops, especially with their control over where pastors were appointed. At the 1792 General Conference, O'Kelly proposed a simple resolution: let preachers be able to appeal their appointments if they disagreed with where a bishop had assigned them. It may seem minor today, but at the time it struck at the heart of Episcopal authority. The resolution fails and the split begins. When the conference rejected his proposal, O'Kelly withdrew. He and several supporters formed a new body they first called Republican Methodists, though it later became known as the Christian Church or the Christian Connection. Their emphasis was on local autonomy, anti-creedal simplicity, congregational governance. Eventually, the Christian Connection would merge with other restorationist groups and become one of the streams of the United Church of Christ in the 20th century. While this group did not remain Methodist in identity, the O'Kelly Schism was the first crack in the Methodist structure and a sign of deeper tensions to come. The second fracture, the Republican Methodist, 1824. Fast forward 3 decades, and those same questions about authority had not gone away. By the 1820s, the Methodist Episcopal Church had grown dramatically, but so had the discontent. The issue was once again on episcopal power. Should bishops continue to rule with near monarchical authority, or should the church adopt a more democratic structure in line with the American Republic? The bishops at the helm. By 1824, the Methodist Episcopal Church was governed by 3 leading bishops. William McKendry, the first American-born bishop revered for his holiness and leadership; Enoch George, a revivalist bishop known for his powerful preaching; and Robert Richford Roberts, a brilliant administrator and skilled preacher. Though deeply respected, these bishops symbolized centralized control, especially the bishop's power to appoint pastors and preside over all decisions in a conference. The reformers rise up. Leading the call for reform were Nicholas Snethan, a forceful preacher and former congressional chaplain; Alexander McCain, a writer and advocate for lay inclusion; and Zadok B. Lewis, a key organizer of the movement. They took the name Republican Methodist, emphasizing their commitment to representative governance and lay involvement. Their vision: no bishops. Elected conferences of clergy and laity. Pastors appointed by the conference, not one man. They hoped to reform the system from within, but the 1824 General Conference rejected their proposals. Faced with no path forward, they separated and formed a new body, the Protestant Methodist Church. Why Protestant Methodist? The name Protestant was chosen carefully. It did not mean anti-Catholic alone. It meant protest against authoritarian control in favor of a church governed by biblical principles and mutual accountability. Legacy echoes through the years. Though smaller in numbers, the Protestant Methodist Church survived as a distinct body until 1939, when it merged with the Methodist Episcopal Church and the Methodist Episcopal Church South to form the Methodist Church, a forerunner of today's United Methodist Church. Meanwhile, the legacy of O'Kelly lived on in the Restorationist movements that sought to strip the church down to its very essentials: no bishops, no creeds, just the Bible and the congregation. Conclusion: early fractures and enduring questions. Neither the O'Kelly movement nor the Republican Methodists opposed Methodism itself. They loved its doctrines, its mission, its revivalist heart, but they believed the structure of the church had to reflect the gospel, not hierarchy, but servant leadership and shared discernment. Their stories remind us that revivals often bring with it the tensions of reform, and that faithful people can disagree about how best to organize the body of Christ. These early fractures were not about abandoning the faith, but about a deep conviction to form the church around servant leadership. In every generation, the church must ask, are our structures helping us follow Jesus or getting in the way? We may not always agree on the answers to those questions.